And now we have certainly a special treat for all of you. For a moderate reflection on this amazing session we have just had, I am pleased and honored to welcome two globally influential people. First is our special guest, model, actress, and businesswoman, and one of the 5 original supermodels, Naomi Campbell. Second, also needs no introduction, leadership development expert and founder of the Africa Leadership Group, named by Time as one of the 100 most influential people in 2019, Mr. Fred Swaneker.
Did you enjoy that catwalk coming up? We're here just to have a brief conversation with Naomi Campbell, and just to put into context, why we thought that might be interesting to have a conversation with Naomi. You remember that one of the pillars that we believe is crucial for conservation to really take hold is that we need to attract new talent into conservation, and we need to change the face of conservation and get it to be something that it's really a sexy industry, and that young people want to go into that field, right? So we thought that it would be interesting to really bring someone who maybe folks might not think is a traditional conservationist, to really get young people excited about this field, right? So that's really how we thought how this all fits into the theme that we're putting. So, but to kick us off, Naomi, firstly, thank you for joining us here.
Thank you for having me, Fred.
At the BCC 2019. Most people know you as the supermodel, and one of the most famous supermodels in history. But very few people know about your connection to Africa. So perhaps could you share with us a bit about how you got involved in the continent?
Yeah, I first came to my first point of Africa was South Africa, and long story short, I did a job where I donated the fees from that job to the ANC, and then I got a phone call and I was flown to meet the great President Nelson Mandela, of which I had a 20-year very close relationship. He gave me the title of his honorable granddaughter, and of which he basically put me to work in going around the country and doing things with kids, with women, with young women, with hospitals, and it just kind of grew from there. There was no name, there was no title, there was no strategy. I just loved doing that part of my life that I kept a secret also. I didn't mix it with my professional life, and I also didn't tell many people that I was doing it.
And so what nickname did Madiba give you?
I don't know if I had a nickname, but I definitely had his honorable granddaughter. He definitely used to catch me sneaking out of the house at like 8:30 p.m. when he used to go to bed at 8. And I mean, I realized how blessed I am to have had this relationship. I also realized what he was explaining to me when I was 23, 24 years old. I was not quite getting it. And it kind of started to creep in around my 30s. And then when he passed in 2013, I really understood that what he would say to me is you have to use yourself and what you've become and your voice to help others. It made a lot of sense. It all kind of came together. And since then, I've dedicated myself to the great continent of Africa.
Thank you, thank you. So is this your first time here in Rwanda then?
This is my first time here in Rwanda, and I am absolutely just mesmerized with how innovative, what an incredible job President Kagame has done, how accommodating, gracious, kind, giving, and yet wanting to excel in everything from across the board that I can think of, and the conservation that they keep so, you know, tenderly and protective, which they should be. I think Rwanda is really like not just a leading country on the continent, a model country to look at. It's a country, a model country to the world. I have never been and I've not seen one piece of garbage anywhere. Spotless.
And so what brought you to Rwanda? Why did you decide to come here and spend 3 days with us?
I have been invited where I kept having schedule conflicts, and normally, yes, right now is New York Fashion Week. But I thought I've been modeling for 33 years. I can skip Fashion Week in New York, and I'd rather be here.
So this is what we got to do. Naomi, some of you know was one of the namers in this year's
Gorilla naming ceremony. Yeah.
And
Inaritu is my daughter's name.
Can you tell us what it means?
Inaritu is from a mother of excellence. So we all come from wonderful mothers where they teach us to be the best and to strive to be excellent and the best of our abilities. We never want to let our mothers down. We want to use everything they've instilled in us to be the best and to make our mothers proud. So that's what my daughter's name means.
And Naomi, when you look at this picture, can you talk about the two people obviously, I'm in the middle. Can you talk about
Sherry, who's
yes.
incredible.
And what do you think is the significance of getting people like Sherry and yourselves involved in conservation, especially as we think about young people in Africa?
I mean, we all come from different backgrounds, but it doesn't mean that we can't be involved and be united in the same forward thinking and front in taking all of our backgrounds and bringing them together. And that's why I think it's great. And I thank you so much for having me here today.
And for those of you who don't know, Sherry, the woman on my right there, is a young choreographer who is she's half Rwandan and has choreographed videos for folks like Rihanna, and she's one of the top choreographers in the world, and it's Africa. And to get someone like her now as a face for conservation, we think it's quite an exciting thing for the continent, and Naomi yourself as well. Looking forward to seeing how young people will react to it. Now, tell us about how many followers do you have on your Instagram account?
I mean, I have like 7.6 million followers, but
7.6 million?
Yeah, but remember,
what have
I
they been
started
saying?
modeling in 1986. So imagine if we had Instagram then. Because my generation of models, we have pictures that we can put out for 33 years. We'd never have to repeat. But I mean, okay, I never thought I'd do social media, but what I understand this platform is good for is to get points across like this, is to reach and get to those people that you can't physically get to. Hence, that's why I also started the YouTube channel too, which is to get my messages across directly to the people that I want to. And I think my thing that I want to do for the continent, which I'm working greatly on and strongly pushing, is I want the brands to come into the continent and be inclusive, not just come in, take, and leave. We have so much beauty here, and we need to protect our beauty, our textiles, and so I feel it's in my industry of fashion, I'm trying to get them to come in and lay infrastructure and support the communities. I'm so tired of hearing people say they're a global company, because the word global means you cover the world. And really, when they don't cover the world and they miss out an entire continent of 54 countries, they're not global, they're international. If they want to become global, they have to include Africa.
Now, Naomi, I read somewhere that it was your mother who first got you involved in conservation. Can you talk a bit more about that?
Well, I think my mother traveled. She was a dancer, so she came to Africa, a lot of countries in Africa, Middle East, Iraq, Lebanon, Iran, and raised me between Italy and Geneva, Rome and Geneva. So my mother, when she got sick from cancer, her whole idea changed. Our whole way of eating and conserving and what we pollution and everything changed, and it definitely had an impact on me and how I looked at the world and how I viewed the things I was doing. And we waste so much. Little things like light, water, electricity, we take for granted.
And then so you learn from your mother how to appreciate the world that we live in, nature.
Absolutely.
And so forth. Yeah. Now, one of our missions here is to, as we said, rebrand conservation. So what have your followers been saying as they've been seeing you, here and gorilla trekking and so forth? What have they been saying about it?
They've been saying they'd rather be here with me than where they are. They're all mesmerized. And, for me, my presence, if I can change one person's mind in the world, that's good for me. And coming here was definitely the right thing to do. And yes, a lot of people in my industry right now hopefully will descend on Rwanda. And so, there's more. I mean, I'm grateful and blessed for the industry that I'm in and for what it's done for me. But I do feel that you also need to share and continue to learn and grow and progress. And so a lot of things I've done in my career has been always a first, and people follow, and I'm happy with that.
Trail conservation as well. Now, one of our, as you know, here at the African Leadership University, we're hoping to develop a new generation of African leaders. Our goal is to train 3 million leaders for the continent in the next 16 years. And we want to channel these leaders into key sectors, like conservation, which is why we have the School of Conservation. Now, you just visited the university this morning. Can you talk about your impressions? What did you...
The ALU, I visited in Johannesburg and I got to visit today in Rwanda. It's incredibly inspiring to hear all your students. The way they speak, it's very open. They feel everyone's approachable, which is so important with your facilitators. The gratitude that I heard for what you give to them, the network, the reach that they can get to. And what's great is that they still have the umbrella of ALU, but they can go out and experiment. It's great that they have to go out and get an internship so that they know what it feels like. They learn about rejection. We all go through rejection in our lives until we really settle on what it is that we want to do. But we were talking about not to learn to take rejection personally, how they know that that wasn't for their path, how they know how to just move forward quickly. I'm just so impressed that I asked you, can I come for the graduation, because I'd love to. Amazing students and such a great, I wish they could implement what you do, this curriculum around the world, because also to hear the Rwandan boy speak about him knowing how grateful and blessed he is compared to the other students that live in other parts of Africa. You're hearing it firsthand from their vision, their experience. He said, I'm so blessed and grateful to be living in my country after hearing the stories of the others. It's great, the unity of bringing all the countries of Africa together. ALU is really something you should be so proud of.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Naomi, and I'm sure they really enjoyed meeting you as well. Final question for you. What would you say to young people out there today, many of whom follow you on social media and who look up to you as a role model? What would you say to them about why they should care about the environment, about nature, about wildlife? Why of all the things that today, why should this be one of the careers they should?
This is the world we live in. It's like, I say, why destroy where you live? You don't do that. You want to enhance. You want to live longer lives. You want to breathe better. You want to be free of diseases. We want to understand why we have cancer, why we get these terminal illnesses. They have to come from the environment somewhere. So this all comes together, medical, climate. It all comes under sustainability of conservation. And it's, with what you see happening today, of course you want to get to the truth. You want to know, because nothing else is working. So this has to be, the nature is where it's at.
Great. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Thanks so much, Naomi, for being here. Thank you.
Wow, what a morning. Thanks again, Naomi, for honoring our invitation, and thank you, Fred. So, it's been a very interesting morning, right? Those pitches were fabulous. I really enjoyed listening to them. But now it's time for lunch. Is anybody hungry? Anybody hungry?